First, what is your view of this deal? Is it a fair one?
It certainly seems to be a fair one. It is in many ways a return to the status quo, a return to Israelis being able to return to their homes in northern Israel without the threat of Hezbollah rocket attacks, and Hezbollah being precluded from being in the area near the Israeli border between the Litani River and the Israeli border, which is where they were not supposed to be in the first place, subject to a 2006 peace agreement and a UN resolution. So what this deal is essentially is the elimination of Hezbollah military presence on the Israeli border, which alleviates a lot of the pressure that Israel has been facing.
And this does come with just a few weeks left in office for President Biden. How big of a deal is this ceasefire for Biden's legacy?
I think it's a big deal for Biden's legacy. Biden was looking for many months now, for almost a year, to secure some sort of peace between Israel and the different factions that have been attacking it for over a year. And now Biden can at least claim to have participated, along with France, in bringing about a ceasefire with Lebanon. This is, of course, beneficial in many respects, but it also helps Israel in that it can now focus attention on Iran and more specifically on the war in Gaza, where Hamas continues to hold Israeli and American citizens hostage and shows no sign of giving up.
And as you mentioned, the U.S. and France issued a joint statement saying, quote, this will create the conditions to restore lasting calm. Now, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is saying the duration of the ceasefire will depend on whether Hezbollah violates the deal. What's your view on how long this ceasefire deal is set to last in Lebanon?
I think we may see this ceasefire deal lasting for longer than expected in many ways because Israel has been so effective at decapitating the leadership of Hezbollah. Not just Hassan Nasrallah, but a number of senior Hezbollah commanders and even more intermediate political appointees have been eliminated in recent weeks. So this really leaves a power vacuum for Hezbollah, and it will take it some time to reorganize, if it ever does, into the fighting force that it once was. So I think that we can see a longer period of sustained calm in northern Israel and southern Lebanon, provided, of course, that everyone abides by, and by everyone really it's Hezbollah and the Lebanese government, abides by the terms of the ceasefire.
On that note, give us a sense of the dynamics between the Lebanese government and Hezbollah, considering that Hezbollah holds 13 seats in the Lebanese parliament.
Well, Hezbollah has unfortunately been legitimized as a political actor within Lebanon. It maintains not just political power, but economic power. It runs banks, it runs businesses, it produces social welfare programs for citizens. So it is not entirely a foreign entity. It is something that many people look to for government structure. However, it's also not welcomed by most Lebanese people. Most Lebanese people do see it as a terrorist organization that has been holding them back from advancing a strong economy and positive relations with the rest of the world. So I think this is also more of a weakening of Hezbollah, and it will actually cause them to lose votes and lose support among the people, further marginalizing it.
Now, in terms of the war in Gaza, how do you see this ceasefire deal playing into that?
I think we can expect the war in Gaza to continue until Israel meets its military objectives, and that includes securing the release of the hostages. In many ways, this is beneficial to Israel. It's no longer having to supply armies on two different fronts, and it can focus its efforts on Gaza, putting maximum pressure on Hamas in order to eliminate what's left of its leadership and secure the release of hostages. I think that what we will see is a much more rapid advance in this war so that we can see some sort of a ceasefire within the next several months and an end to hostilities there as well.
And how might all of these latest developments change how Trump and his administration handles the Middle East?
No, I think Donald Trump is always been viewed as handling the Middle East differently than Joe Biden has. Trump has been and remains a steadfast supporter of Israel, and he was the one who advanced and created the Abraham Accords, so he is a man who is used to bringing peace to the Middle East. Now, I think this dynamic makes it slightly easier for him to come in, one less war or one less front of a war to worry about, but ultimately Donald Trump's focus will be on Iran, and not just on the proxies of Hamas and the terrorist organizations like the Houthis in Yemen, but Iran itself and the danger it poses not just to the Middle East, but to the entire world. Let's not forget that Iran sent assassins to try to kill Donald Trump. Iran is an enemy of humanity, essentially. So I think Donald Trump is coming into the same picture that he was before the ceasefire, only now at least one front seems to be resolved.
G'raird Filetti, Middle East Affairs analyst and attorney specializing in international law. Thank you so much for joining us.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.